Yeah, let me pull up my slides. So we're going to be doing 50-50 right now, probably 75-25. 75 of this percent of this call is going to be focused on adding layers to your business. And then 25% I gotta share, gotta add that. But I just sent that request over. But anyway, 75% is going to be on adding layers to your business, and then 25% is going to be on cookware and flatware, which kind of pairs nicely because how I started to sell a lot of cookware and flatware was quite honestly was doing events. It just naturally kind of leads into that, and it got me better at selling at on demos when I was doing events. In my honest opinion, you do not learn true sales skills, like really high level sales skills, until you start doing events. Okay. And the reason why that is because think about it. When you do demos, and you're coming from a representative, guys, that I sold 500 grand doing demos, right? 500 grand just doing demos in college, right? It's a referral of a referral of a referral. There's social proof there that you can pull from. But one of the coolest things is learning how to actually sell Cutco, Jaden, to somebody that doesn't know you, has never met you, walks up to you, curious about what are these knives doing here at the music festival, and then all of a sudden they're excited for an ultimate set, and then you're following up with them years down the road, right? So isn't that exciting, right? So I want to talk to you guys about adding layers to your business. And I'm going to walk through and just kind of make it a little bit of a workshop, not so much like I have a couple slides with it, but more so I want to make it a workshop for you guys to kind of see like if I was in your shoes, this is what I would do, right? Um, so let me just pull up slides. So let's get over here. So adding layers to your business. There we go. Scoot over. Right. Go. Should be this one right here. All right, perfect. Go back one more. This one. All right. So here we go. So you guys can kind of see this. Um, these are my inner circle people that I surround myself with, right? So this is the Silver Cup report from last year. The Silver Cup report, for those of you that don't know, is just like the national championship based on different levels that you're in. Cutco does a great job of promoting that on a week to week basis and a yearly basis. So last year, the number one representative in all of Cutco, Rob Robincheck, sold $1.4 million. Second place was 1.3 million. Third place was 1.1. 1 million for Mike Dodwood, 1 million for Brandon Brown, Josh Mueller with 900,000, Deanna Scortino, 862,000, Robert Wicks, 751, Chelsea Rodriguez, 702, Seth Kinzer, 677. And the top 10 representatives with Cutco leave success leaves clues. So success and failures leave clues. We can all learn from that. So out of these top 10, I would say eight of them are very big fair and show reps, right? They do a lot of fair and show reps. Rob Robincheck does fairs and shows, but he also does business gifting. Deanna Scortino does fairs and shows, but she also does a lot of realtor gifting. And Chelsea Rodriguez does a lot of fairs and shows, but she also does a lot of realtor gifting as well. Some of my former mentees, this is actually really fun for me to look at the Silver Cup report. There's a young CSP now, Silver Cup, that people can win. It used to just be one for CSPs, and then the amount of CSPs that have grown in the business, it's now turned in level one, which is like Titan division, layer level two, which is like Premier, and then there's a Rising Star Silver Cup category where it's young. I would say mostly young 20-year-olds, fighting. That doesn't age doesn't matter, but that's usually what it is, the bulk, right? Really defining this as a career opportunity for them. Really proud of this top 20 list because number one, I coached for a year and a half. Jared Erickson went through my coaching program one on one, and he won the Silver Cup last year, sold 4,000, made 200 grand as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old. We go down a little bit and look at number five, Bryson, who's in your division, right? So I coached Bryson. You guys all know that, 320. We go to number seven, Alejandro, from Puerto Rico, selling over 300 grand, winning a watch, which was pretty cool. We go down a couple of more to, let's see, go down to the bottom here. John Stringer, I know, Zane Baumerbath, number 18, 19, and 20 are all representatives that I've coached and had an impact on. And I share this with you because all of these reps, when we started coaching one-on-one, part of their business was, yes, doing demos and having that layer to your business. There's five layers to the business. There's demos, there's service calls, there's past customer marketing, there's business gifting, and there's events. So if you want to be well-rounded with Cutco, and I know I'm talking to a lot of managers on this call, but this is really important for you guys to know as well, is you want to get your reps as many layers as possible. Like, how can we get them as many layers as possible? Because it's fun, it's exciting, it's a new opportunity, it's something different. What's one of the reasons why representatives stop selling Cutco? One of the main reasons why representatives stop selling Cutco across the nation is because they feel like they're running out of people. Nod your head, right? You ever get that? Like, you feel like you're running out of people. Well, fairs and shows solves that problem if taught properly. And I say that if taught properly. You can't go into fairs and shows, Leah, and only be like, I'm just going to sell at the show. I'm not going to get any service call leads. I'm not going to do any demos. I'm a fair and show rep. And that's the trap that a lot of young CSPs fall into, Jaden, is they're like, I'm a fair and show rep. And they create this division in their head that it's an and yes, it's not an either or. I'm a fair and show rep on Saturday, but I'm a service call rep on Monday, Tuesday, and a demo rep on Thursday and Friday, and a past customer marketing rep on my summer sale during SC2 and my winter sale during November. It's like, I'm everything, right? And myself included. It's funny, I still do demos. I do events. I get service call leads. I go see those people who own Cutco, love Cutco. I don't have to sell them, right? It's like the walls are down. They're like, yeah, Rob, we love this stuff. It's great. Just show us other things, right? And then let's ask for referrals, right? So we ask for referrals from there, and we go and do demos, et cetera, et cetera. So fair and shows last year, guys, Vector as a whole sold $160,000, 160 million, not thousand, $160 million last year. That was coffee, not water. I thought that was water. That's why the facial reaction was different. So, so Vector Marketing sold 160 million dollars worth of Cutco, and that's based off of Silver Cup reports. What I did was looked at last year, Brian, just in case you're wondering how I came up with that number. I looked at Silver Cup reports, and I looked at the total of every region on week 52, just added those up. So it could be plus or minus a couple million. $54 million was done at the booth. A third of the business was done at the booth. 4.5 million was done at mall displays in November and December. So, and you can see here some malls that did $187,000. The Roseville Galleria at Roseville. I'm not sure exactly where that is. But it was a month-long event. Fox River Mall, which is in Wisconsin, 133 million. Greenville Christmas Mall, I'm guessing that's in Greenville, South Carolina, possibly, or Greenville, Tennessee. There's lots of Greenvilles out there. Over 100 grand in a month. Woodlands Mall, which is also in Wisconsin, $100,000, and then Park Meadow Malls, 91,000. Right? So numbers don't lie. They don't tell the whole story. Write that down. Numbers don't lie. They don't tell the whole story, though. So let's dig in deep here with fairs and shows. So what's really, and this, I'm really happy that I have a lot of managers on this call because, as a business owner, guys, you need to, a lot of hype is based around SC2, yes or yes, right? Yes or yes, okay? A lot of hype is based around SC2. And the I don't want to call it, I use the word trap, but it's like the mistake that a lot of managers make that I've noticed across the nation is like a lot of emphasis on SC2, and that is, naturally a time where reps start to go back to college, right? So that's kind of like the one of the reasons why. But if you want to be a great successful DM, you got to start developing FSMs and CSPs and branch managers and district managers. Even if you're going to go branch next year, like Jaden, I know that you're a younger rep over here and you've been coming on these calls often. I really love seeing you on here. If you want to, even if you want to go branch next year, you still should get fair and show trained. You still should get service call trained because in August it's gonna slow down and you're gonna be selling again, right? And it's like let's get back in the swing of things with some events. So what's really cool is, and I say this as the college kid, so I don't have to keep saying that. You guys know I love doing demos. There's nothing better than sitting down with Mrs. Jones, just ripping an ultimate set in an hour and going to my next one, selling a signature set, having a 10K day. I love that, right? But you're going to start to see Cutco sales professionals, career professionals. This is their Super Bowl. From now, August 5th, until the end of the year, you are going to see some absolutely ridiculous numbers. 50K weeks, 100K weeks. I mean, if you just go, and I know that if you just go on Vector Connect, I actually have something else pulled up here. I don't want to move away from this screen, but if you just go to Vector Connect and look at the tabs and it says like CSPs, 50K weeks are pretty normal now. 40K weeks are pretty normal. 30K weeks are pretty normal, right? And you got to ask yourself, like, how does that come about? And a lot of it is fairs and shows. So if you want to, develop CSPs, you got to get people started on fairs and shows. And what I did last year was I actually, since I'm on this screen, I'm going to shoot back over here. We'll be bouncing around. But the Texas State Fair. So guys, this is a 4-week period from the end of September until, so September 27th to October 20th. They sold $1.4 million in 3 weeks. Texas is different, right? The Big E, but that's the biggest show in all of Cutco. We have like three booths there. It's massive. It's crazy big, the Texas State Fair. All of Texas comes to it, right? Then we have the Big E, which is in Massachusetts. You can make the argument and say, oh, well, that's Texas. We don't live in Texas. Well, guess what? The Big E is in Massachusetts, and it's our second biggest fair and show in the entire company. Massachusetts a couple hours away from some of you on here, right? 693,000 at the booth in the span of 2 weeks, 16 days, 600. I'm sure if the Big E went a month long like Texas, it would be close to that number, right? And then you look at the New York State Fair. Again, guys, look at the New York State Fair. August 21st to September 2nd. That is not, what's that, 12 days? 10 days? 10 days? And your state fair is ranked the 4th biggest event in all of Cutco? Give yourselves a round of applause. Like, that's a big deal. Like, when I show stats and I show things like this, there's two different types of people. The woe is me, the, oh, well, they have it better, all that, like that person that plays the blame game, or the person that seeks opportunity, right? So are you an opportunity seeker? Or are you someone that plays the blame game, right? So all of you on this call, even managers, I encourage you, I implore you to take a couple hours out of your day and just go to the New York State Fair as a spectator and walk by the Cutco booth. Hang out with them for 30 minutes. See how much interaction they get. You're telling me you're not going to get dopamine hits on like, wow, yeah, we have a great product, great program. Like, you're telling me you're not going to get that dopamine hit watching like Curtis J. Hughes just sell a Cutco kitchen right in front of your face, watching Luciano sell a Cutco kitchen, watching Josh Muller. Guys, the New York State Fair is so big that we have Josh Muller from Texas flying up for it. We have Curtis J. Hughes from Colorado that comes in for it. We have Luciano from Tennessee that comes into it. We got to get some homegrown CSPs. I'm talking to you, DMs. We got to get some homegrown CSPs in the New York State Fair. Obviously, Case's in there and some others and all that stuff, right? And Aaron. But we got to get some homegrown representation in the New York State Fair. Have that be Brian a badge of honor. Hire a kid this summer, get him trained, get him to 100K next summer, and have him have his first couple shifts at the New York State Fair. Right? We're not even talking about the service calls you're going to get from that. This is just at the booth. Um, I don't know how much CPO is sold at service calls or service events after this. Um, anyway, is this exciting for you guys? You should get fired up. Like, really, like, is anyone fired up? Or now I'm just like talking in the ether. Anyone fired up? Give me some snaps. I'm gonna come off of mute, or I want you guys to come off of mute. I just want like one or two takeaways from what I'm going on right now. Let's get some interaction so that way I don't feel like I'm talking to you guys the whole time. What are you thinking?
I definitely enjoy to talk about like the fairs and everything like that, and like event
Mhm.
showings, because here in Buffalo we have like in the beginning of August we have like the Eden Corn Festival Fair, which is like it's like a smaller fair, but still.
Sounds
Um,
great.
and then also we have the Erie County Fair, which is like our biggest fair. So
Yeah.
it'd definitely be cool to do some sales during then. So
Yeah. Jaden, what are you at in career sales?
so right now I'm at 8,900 right now. So
Okay.
yeah,
What do you do? 50, 15K or 20K or something like that?
yep, yeah.
Yep. Yep. And malls and like, so the malls right here, Jaden, for someone like yourself, the Erie Fair is coming up soon. Like it's a month. Like I don't know if you're going to get to 15K or 20K, but go and get field trained.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's a ton of other events other than I did my research. So I'm going to share with you guys that. But mall ships, like Jaden, you should be doing the Rochester Mall, the Buffalo Mall, whatever malls are up there over November. Like that is a must do goal of mall shifts, right? Because you're going to sell, you're going to get interactions, you're going to get service call leads, and this is the layers of the business right here. So virtual demos is one layer, service calls, events, marketing, business gifts. So this is my projections for the year, and it hasn't been updated. There's like 50 grand that's not on here, but you can see I'm probably at like 140 for the year, 150 for the year. And I still have 300 grand in my pipeline with events and past customer marketing. And like, I'm coming up on the busiest time of my career, right? Um, and this is a good visualization for momentum in the business. And this goes for you DMs and you branches as well. Momentum in the business. Events lead to service calls, which when you do a service call, you ask for referrals just like you would on a demo, and you get demo leads. And then you go see those demos, and then you get past customer marketing, and all of these people it's just this continual cycle, continual cycle. If I was going to set up a branch manager for success next summer, what I would do is have them work really hard on recruiting and all that stuff. But Josh, I would have them work with the CSP Fair and Show coordinator and be like, "Hey, Johnny, you're gonna be a part of this fair in July. You're gonna be a part of this fair in August. You're gonna be a part of this, right?" And have that back half of the summer loaded, so that way they're excited and they can take their new kids field training and they can hype that up to their new kids. Hey, come and watch me do the show. Come and watch me do these service calls, right? So momentum in the business. In business in general, not just Cutco, there's something called the lead domino effect. There's a book based off this whole thing. Lead domino. It's a common phrase in business. What is one thing that is going to cause a domino effect in the rest of your business? And in the world of Cutco, when done properly, it's events. It's events training, it's events training, it's events training. Um, by the way, one of my favorite stories, because we do have a lot of managers on this call, one of my favorite stories I love to share about this is Andy Noggle. He's now the division manager of Virginia. They're doing quite well. And Andy, when he was a DM, he was like, you know what? I kind of want to sell. I want to just remember what it's like to sell. So that way it inspires my reps. So he would take off like, during a slow period, like a couple of weeks and do service calls and all that stuff. And I taught him how to goal share as a district manager because I goal shared as a district manager as well. I sold, and what I did was I would tell them that I'm the recruiting manager in the area. So if they know anyone that's 18 to 25 years old that's looking for sales skills experience, I'd love to meet them. And I picked up PRs after PRs after PRs in my slower season as a DM. And Andy did the same thing here, and he got an 8K fast starter in January. So he did like a mall. He got a couple service call leads, went and did that, sold a couple grand, and then one of the parents he was sitting down with, it was really funny. He did the service call for him. He goes, and he's like, yeah, like so I'm the recruiting manager here in Virginia Beach. So if you have anyone that's if you know anyone like nephews, nieces, sons, daughters that are like 18 to 24 years old, looking to get some sales experience, looking for a job over winter break, that's not like your typical like job just punching the clock. Really learn some cool sales skills and soft skills. That'd be cool. And the guy that Andy was doing a service call for literally just goes, "Hey Johnny, you're working for him over winter break." And Johnny goes, "Okay, cool. Think he showed the training? Yeah, he showed the training. His dad made him." His dad like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're doing it, right?" Dad was his first sale. Dad bought a flatware chest. Loves Cutco, right? So, think about it. The person loves Cutco. Now they're having their son sell Cutco. That's their first demo. That's a flatware chest. That's pots and pans. That's what we're going to talk about in a minute. But, it's kind of a nice little domino effect. So anyway, we'll keep moving here. What I want to do is just show you guys if I was in your division, if I was a brand new rep Apollo, I moved from out of the division to your division, and let's say my wife wants to live in like whatever area, whatever, Saratoga Springs or something like that, right? And I want to be a CSP. What I would do is I would start researching. I would be like, all right, I want to research New York. What are the best towns in New York? I'm not from New York. Let me just research them. And I believe I did this on a previous call where it was networking into $1 million homes. And, I love it. Chris was like, "Hey, Rob, you might want to change it to $500,000 homes." And then all I did was a simple search of richest towns in New York. And I pull up the Scantinellis or Scanettelis, and all of a sudden it's an $18 million home or something like that. So you guys have gorgeous homes. New York State, I mean, I don't know if I have to sell you on it, but New York State, because of its proximity to New York and Pittsburgh, um, the really wealthy families of New York City would come up to Lake George, Saratoga Springs for the summertime, and it was called the Billionaires Playground, right? And then same thing with Pittsburgh and everybody going to the Finger Lakes region and all that stuff. So anyway, enough selling you guys on your own division. However I pronounce this, it's top 25. There was another town called where is it? Sullivan County, top five counties. So different counties right there. Pittsford, so in Monroe County. I don't even know where that is, right? So median income family, right? So number two town on the list is Pittsburgh. So what I did was I was like, okay, well, I don't know much about the Scanatellis, but I know it's really nice. And the reason why I want to be there is because if I'm doing an event in downtown Lake George, which I know is a baller area, who do you think's going to come around my booth? People with money that can afford Cutco, that it's like a good opportunity, or people that have Cutco and need their knife sharpened. And it gets me service calls in the Lake George area. And then I go do those service calls. I sell on those service calls, and then I get referrals on those service calls. And now all of a sudden, I'm plugged into Lake George. A guy from New Jersey who never grew up in New York, didn't know anything about New York, all of a sudden decides to do an event in Lake George and gets sales in Lake George and service calls and referrals. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that's what I did when I moved to South Jersey. South Jersey is drastically not as crazy wealthy as North Jersey. So when I came here, which is an hour and a half away from my home, I was like, I need to find the nice towns. And what I did last year was I found this town called Morristown. It's the nicest town in this area. Did an event there. I only sold like 1,500 at the event. The event cost me $200. Technically I broke even, I made like whatever that day, like, $500 that day. But I'm really good at getting service calls. So I got 25 service calls for Morristown, and I ended up selling another $12,000 just to the service call people, not to mention the referrals I got from the referrals and the referrals and the referrals, and I kickstarted things, right? So it's a really simple plug and play process. So the first part is research, looking up nice areas. The next part, once you do that, is you just Google Lake George summer vendor events. And then I put images because I want to see what it looks like. Yes or yes, do these look like something that you guys should be doing? Like Lake George June Craft Festival. Yeah, we're at craft festivals all around the country. It looks like there's another one like landing events. So June Craft Festival, you can see that. That looks like a great craft festival. We did one here in Haddonfield, which is a really nice area. It's nowhere near as nice as Lake George. Like, but we did one here in Haddonfield, which is a very nice town, and we sold 15 grand in 2 days, right? So these are really good opportunities for you. Okay. So you can kind of see here. So it looks like the Arts and Crafts Festival. So that looks like a popular one. Okay. And then if I go here, find Lake George events, I think I clicked on it and then it was just like all these different ones. Well, Heritage Harvest Horse Festival in October. If people have horses, it might be a good event. October Fest events are a little interesting because it draws a younger crowd, like 20-year-olds, but still worth a shot. Brewery Festival, right? So let's see here. There was something Sasquatch Festival and Calling Contest. I mean, that looks like something at the end of September. The Adirondack Balloon Festival, September 18th to the 21st. I don't know if you guys even do that, but New Jersey Balloon Festival is something that we do, and it's like it's like a 25K event, and all the service call leads from that. So are you living in abundance? Or are you living in scarcity? Are you like, the New York State Fair is taken, so like I can never be good at fairs and shows? Like, are you being a scarcity minded person, or are you being in abundance and being like, dude, there's a million shows here. Like, let me just find some good shows. Like, who cares, right? So Adirondack Vet Fest, I don't know what that is exactly. So National Adirondack Nationals car shows, guys. These are people that are coming with old cars that cost a lot of money, right? You see the tents in the background, like there's clearly a vendor section to it. There's a place out in Pennsylvania called Carlisle, and they have they have car shows and Corvette shows and all this stuff. Every week, Cutco's there. Every week, we have a booth that's there. Does it light the world on fire? No. It's like a 2 to 5K event, but you probably get some good service call leads. You probably meet some business owners there. There's the Washington County Fair, which incorporates Saratoga Springs and Lake George. So that might be a really good event to explore. I think that's that county. I could be mistaken. So and then I don't know, LGFD August craft show. So like a craft show coming up. I mean, if that's the picture and not like a Google image picture of it, that's something that Cutco's at, right? So the next thing that I did, and we'll keep going here, New York is massive, right? So tons of opportunity in Buffalo, tons of opportunity in Rochester, all of the Finger Lakes region, Watkin Glen, Ithaca, Cortland, all of those areas probably have some really fun events going on. Elmira, I know Leah, I believe you're the DM of Elmira, right? They probably have a super cute festival in the fall, right? I bet you Elmira has a super cute like pumpkin patch festival. Um, Binghamton, okay, they definitely have some events. Cooperstown, guys, Cooperstown, if someone is a baseball fan, I'm getting chills, is like the place. Like Cooperstown, people come from all over the world to go to Cooperstown. Baseball is an international sport. Shohei Ohtani from Japan is like the best selling jersey in America. You're telling me people ain't flying from Japan? Oh, there's a Hall of Fame where I can look at all of the baseball players that ever played this sport that's a worldwide sport and it's in Cooperstown. You're telling me they're not going to have like a fall festival or like, a spring festival or a summer festival? Um, Big name people, Derek Jeter, everybody goes to Cooperstown, right? You have this whole area, the Catskills up to Glen Falls. We didn't even talk about Lake Placid. Guys, I drove to Lake Placid. I did an Ironman at Tupper Lake right next to it. I did a half Ironman. I drove from all the way in New Jersey, like 7 hours to the middle of nowhere. You guys know Lake Placid's the middle of nowhere, right? So it's like all the way up there. But I was like, oh my gosh, this place is so cute. I was like, this place is amazing. You're telling me they don't have like a cool fall festival? Guys, Lake Placid hosted the Olympics in the 80s. The world knows about Lake Placid. So there is so much opportunity here. Yeah, it's driving and all that stuff. Watertown, I heard, is gorgeous in the summertime. I actually have a friend who lives there. He says never come in the winter, but in the summer, yeah, you should come here. It's pretty cool for like the 2 months, right? It's great weather. You're telling me all these people that are bundled up in like negative degree temperature aren't like thriving to try to get outside in beautiful weather? That's probably why the New York State Fair does so well because people are just so cold and they're like, I need to get out, right? Like, let me get out. Let me go to the New York State Fair. They want to do stuff, they want to go places, right? So, anyway, I want to give perspective on that. Fairs and shows. So again, I looked up Saratoga Springs. I just know that that's a nice area. There's something there called the Traverse Race. It's a horse race that is like absolutely world known as one of the biggest horse races in the world. Horse racing. If you have horses, they cost $1 million, at least $1 million a horse. So, people are traveling from all over the world to race in this event, and it's in your backyard. And Saratoga Springs, my wife and I stopped by there one time on our way back from Lake George. Has anyone ever been to Saratoga Springs here? It is super cute downtown. Like, I bet you, look, I typed in, look, they have a flower and garden expo next year. I don't know if you guys do that. Maybe you do that. Um, Stillwater Family Day, okay, whatever. I don't know. Like, so, and some of these are hit and miss. You got to be willing to take risks in business, right? You can't. Not everything's guaranteed. But there's a horse show here in Pennsylvania called the Devon Horse Show, and it's nowhere near the size of Traverse, nowhere near the size. Like, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near the size of Traverse. I believe I'm saying Travelers or I think it's Travelers in Saratoga Springs. And we did 25 grand last month there, 30 grand, not to mention the follow up from it. So it's probably a 50K show. Okay. So do your research, look up different events, visit Rochester. There was something that said like 140 festivals happening in the Rochester and Finger Lakes area. We don't even have, you guys have like 6 CSPs. Like, not everybody's doing events, right? So, anyway, I have these events right here. What I did was I looked up your events. So, DMs, you should have access to this on the left hand side of your screen. You can go to events and then go to Eventalytics, and then you can plug and play here. So what I did was I dropped down and I did event sales and I looked at Empire for last year. Um, and just scrolling up here, so you have the Erie County Fair. Yeah, Jaden. So Jaden, that's a $309,000 event last year, and it's 9 days long or 11 days long. This is probably ranked, like, guys, you have two of the biggest fairs in company. Like, I only showed like the top 6 or 7, but the Erie County Fair probably ranks up there as like top 20 in the nation for events. It's called America's Fair. The Erie County Fair is called America's Fair. Like, great stuff there. And then the Buffalo Home Show, Josh, like close to a $90,000 home show. Guys, that's like unheard of. A $90,000 home show. Buffalo, guys, yes or yes, Buffalo's smaller than Philadelphia, right? So we have a Philadelphia home show that does 35 grand. And that's like a key show. You guys triple that, almost triple that in your show that's, 9 days long, right? Dutchess County Fair looks like a good one as well. And I'm just scrolling through here. I want to shift gears and do a little bit of gifting, or not gifting, but all this stuff. But Apple festivals, you can see if you've done the events before. You can see the track record of them. Look at all these 10 and 15K events. Like, these are great 10 or 15K events, and you can see how many orders they put in. So whoever worked this one, I'm just going to pick one. I don't hot saw competition. Don't even know what that is. We're just going to click on it, right? Mike Totora, okay, so from Cleveland, right? Was working this event. So 18 orders. That means that it's probably a pretty good event. might be a two-person event this year, right? So a lot of these events, if you see that it's like 18 orders or a good amount of orders, that's plug and play, guys, for somebody to join in. Hey, why don't we get someone else there to help out? Because if they're having 18 orders in a 2.5 day period, that means that they're doing 6 orders a day. That means that they're probably talking to 10 or 15 people a day because they're placing 6 or 7 orders depending on how good they are, right? And then not to mention the people that walk by and need their knife serviced, but like didn't sign up because Mike was talking to somebody and just was like, oh, I'll do it another time. If there was another person at the booth, it would draw more people in, right? So Adirondack Nationals, I think that was something that popped up. I don't know who worked this one. But yeah, you can see Brian Green, Isaac Colvin. Yep, loved working with Isaac for a little bit. We talked about fairs and shows. We talked about plug and play, getting them involved. Aaron Sarr. So you know, some other events here at Home and Garden Show, Hudson Show, Hamburg, service events. This was just a service event that someone did from all of the service call leads, and they sold 10 grand in 2 days. Okay. So Lafayette Apple Festival, the Glorious Garlic Festival. I mean, this kind of sounds like something, Jaden, like the Corn Festival you were talking about. Yeah, Bryson, look, but who I coached, 9 orders, 5 grand. So $600 average order. The one order means that Aaron did not work that show, probably was a past customer that came up and bought, so he got credit for it. Probably same thing with Leslie, don't know too much. Same thing with Miles. So it was really Marissa and Bryson that were probably working that event together to have the 6 and 9 orders right there, right? So anyway, you guys have so much opportunity here. There was 514 shows worked last year. Look at that, 514 shows. A lot of opportunity in your division to get involved. Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit into, and I apologize. I said it was 75-25, but it's really probably turned into 90-10 of cookware and flatware. So let me just move over here to the cookware and flatware portion of this. And I think it works out well talking about events because, again, that's where you're going to sell a lot of cookware and flatware. Yes, you can 100% sell cookware and flatware on demos. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. But sometimes you take the path of least resistance, Jaden. It's like, hey, what's gonna lead domino? What's gonna create the biggest amount of CPO for me? Well, here's a good example. I'm gonna give an example of this year. Last October, I worked an event that was called it was like a street festival, and it was like 1,800 CPO. Everybody was buying one knife from me. It was like the hardest thing ever to upsell anybody. It was just like cheese knife, Santoku, whatever, right? But I got 25 service call leads from it. One of the people that came by, they saw my display. So, how you sell more pots and pans and flatware is one by showing it. Well, when you do a fair and show, you have your flatware chest there. You got the 3 sets. You got all of the hunting knives. You got all the pots and pans. It looks really nice. And Mrs. Jones, the Carver family, it's actually kind of funny. Their name's Carver. So Cynthia Carver came up to my booth and was like, I'm sorry, like I wasn't expecting to see Cutco here, but I need my knife sharpened. Can you come over and sharpen them? Absolutely. Signed her up for a service call. Went over to go see her. And guys, like I just wasn't able to see her right away. That was October. I didn't end up sharpening her knives until this year in March. I was like, I got so busy. She's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, come on over. I sharpened her knives. And when I was at the booth and she was signing up for a service call, I always ask people, hey, I know you have our knives. We have pots and pans, flatware, hunting stuff, fishing stuff. Is there anything else that kind of sort of piques your interest? My little Cutco pitch for like 10 seconds. And she goes, oh, yeah, the pots and pans look pretty cool. I'm like, oh, nice. Awesome. And I put a note next to her name for the service call, Pots and Pans. In March, I went over and husband wasn't there yet. I was sharpening the small set that they had. They had 5 pieces in a tray, and we started talking about the flatware, and they ended up buying the flatware chest as a gift for their daughter, who loves to cook, and they want to get her a nice like housewarming present. And then And then credit card upsell. So whenever you see somebody, I always do a credit card upsell, and I got their credit card. And this is how you do a credit card upsell. This is how I sell a lot of flatware, a lot of cookware. I asked that question in the beginning. So let me go back a slide right here. I'll come back to this one. But step one is showing everything we make. And then step two is this verbiage right here, the Cutco Kitchen verbiage. How to pitch the Cutco Kitchen in 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and then go into a knife demo, right? So, Mrs. Jones, this is called our Cutco Kitchen plan. I wouldn't be doing my job as a sales rep if I didn't let you see our entire catalog. A lot of people know us for our knives. We got a wide selection of incredible products, such as our Forever Flatware, Forever Pots and Pans, gadget accessory package, outdoor hunting package, and gift programs for families or business owners. Some people who are renovating their kitchen are tired of bad kitchen products do this package all at once to save the most amount of money. However, most people start with our knives, and once they check off that piece to their Cutco kitchen puzzle, they move on to our other incredible packages. Obviously, you can see that the price of the entire Cutco kitchen is 15 grand. The package discount is 12,500. It's important to know we have no interest payment plans. A lot of my customers love it when I show them this in the beginning because they just realize that Cutco isn't cheap. And I'm sure you agree from experience, Mrs. Jones, that good things aren't cheap and cheap things aren't good. I'm going to start by showing you the knife packages, but I'm curious, is there any other package that sort of piques your interest? Great. Let's get to the knives because that's where most people start. So if you're doing a demo, and guys, if you're teaching your reps how to do a demo, doing this little 60 seconds in the beginning is really powerful because not only are they going to be interested in pots and pans and knives, but pots and pans and flatware. So we bring it back to the knives. We do the knife demo, right? And that's exactly what happened with the carvers. Let's go back to the carvers. So we were picking out a bunch of, so they had 5 pieces. It was like the kitchenette set. And then they were like, ooh, I really want to add the salmon knife, the hearty slicer, and some other pieces. So Jaden, you follow me on this? Because you're a rep on here, right? So it's like, cool. They were excited about 3 knives. And then we started talking flatware, and I was like, okay, here's what I could do. And I did this twice. I did this twice to him. Cynthia handed over her credit card to buy $400 worth of knives. And I said, all right, hey, Cynthia, I'm really excited for you to get the couple editions here. You're going to love them forever. I remember you saying in the beginning that you were kind of interested in the flatware. Since you're already getting the couple of pieces and you're eventually going to get the flatware as a gift set for your daughter, it might make sense for you to bundle them together to save the most money. And because I'm in this big contest, I'm trying to hit some goals. If I were to go above and beyond for you and do something a little extra special for you, just for laughs, would you be 1% interested in hearing the bundle package savings? That just for laughs line. Bryson LeBurge, you guys saw him on the Silver Cup report, 300K, Silver Cup winner. I coached him for a year and a half. He could have picked from 1,000 different things that I've taught him. I literally asked him, Bryson, if you could, on our last coaching call, obviously he was moving on from the coaching program. And I was like, hey, Bryson, what'd you like? What were your favorite things I taught you? Just so I know I could teach these to the other kids. And he's like, that credit card upsell and the just for laughs line is probably the greatest line ever taught because it just allows a person to be kind of interested in hearing the deal. And the way he described it was it kind of just like opens up the door a little bit and then I can just like push it open, right? And that's what I did with the carvers. I said, hey, if you want to get the flatware set today, I'm just going to throw in the knives for free. And I did the 5 pay. I was like, the 5 pay is going to be 385, so it's technically going to be less than what you're spending today, and you're getting way more. And at this point, Cynthia's husband was home, and he was like, all right, yeah, let's do that. And then I'm just about to wrap up and process the order, and then I do it again, Leah. I go, wait a minute. I go, wait a minute. You also said you were kind of interested in the pots and pans. Tell me more about your pots and pans situation. And then Mr. Carver was like, oh, they suck. I hate them. And I was like, all right, like, tell me more. Like, what do you hate about them? That's a key sales line. Tell me more about that. Write that down. Tell me more about that is an open-ended line that allows your customer to just dive deep on the problem, concern, something that they're running into. And that's how I sell a lot of pots and pans and a lot of flatwares. I just say, hey, tell me more about that. So tell me more about that. he went down a rabbit hole of why he hates them, the Teflon stuff, the scraping. We have to replace them every couple of years. And guess what he did? He just gave me an answer key on how to sell him. All I had to do was match up the problems that he's running into and explain why Cutco solves that problem. And then I was like, just for laughs, like because I'm working hard towards this March goal, right? If I threw everything together, could I just show you the crazy savings you would get? And he's like, all right, let's do it. And I threw in like, the hostess set for free, right? The $350 hostess set on the flatware for free. Right. So and then I also I might have thrown like another thing for free, like an ice cream scoop or a veggie peeler. I forget exactly what happens, but I threw in some other gadgets that he was kind of eyeing up. Oh, the fishing knife. He really wanted the fishing knife. I remembered that from the presentation. So I was like, ooh, the fishing knife might seal the deal right here. So I was like, and I'll throw in the fishing knife for free. And then he goes, okay, so it's 5 grand total, $1,000 a month for 5 months. And I'm like, yep, pretty much. And he goes, let's do it. So I turned a $300 order into a 300 CPO ish probably order into a 4,000 CPO, 3,800, 4,000, something like that, depending on pots and pans and flatware. I just 10x'd my CPO, which means I also 10x'd my income just by doing a credit card upsell. And that, my friends, is how you sell a lot of cookware and flatware. You position it in the beginning, you ask them if they're kind of sort of interested in anything else, and then you leverage what they're already buying at the end to try to package it together. At the end of the day, people just want a great deal. They want to feel like they got a great deal and they want to know they got a great deal. And for me, at least, I always give people great deals. So that way I sleep easy at night knowing that I beat every price. I don't go too crazy with things, but I do my best to beat every single price that I possibly can, right? And people love that. I just sold 2 signatures with steak knives the other day because the woman buys online. And I'm like, go through me. Like, I'm going to give you a way better deal. She's like, okay, sounds good. So I gave her a way better deal. All right. Awesome. Any questions? I do have to wrap up and I have to drive to my SC too. So
No
takeaways. I'm
questions
sorry.
on
I'm
my
looking
end.
at the chat right here. Finally poking my head up. Mike Myers. Actually, yeah, Josh. So, and let me scroll up here. Yeah. So, Haddonfield is an area that it's very picturesque. It's a beautiful town. Really beautiful, gorgeous town. And they film a lot of movies here.
Josh, you're muted, by the way. I saw you talking, but you're muted.
My bad. I was just saying, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Galleria Mall, is that you guys or no?
Yeah, we
Hey, look, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. And it was your mall. That was the number one mall in the country, right?
Apollo, well, not like ours specifically, but our mall did pretty well, mainly because Apollo crushed it like in
Yeah.
December.
I think I remember that. And the service call leads from that, right? So it's like that's how you build momentum and then you go and get referrals. Guys, I had a CSP, I'm not going to say his name, but he was contemplating leaving Cutco. He's a pillar CSP in a division. He does like 350 grand and he's actually their events coordinator. And I share this, hold up with this. You're like, Rob, where are you going with the story? And I shared this with him because sometimes, guys, it's not learning something new, it's remembering something that's true. And I had a 2 hour coaching call. He just paid me like just because he's like, dude, I need help. I heard you're really good at referrals. And I just laid into him and I was like, what the F are you doing? What the heck are you doing service calls and not asking for referrals? And he's like, dude, I just forgot. I just forgot to do that. It's the basics. And on our call, he had like an epiphany. He's like, you just never know who someone else knows. And there's a shift in the business that's happening for business gifts because you could place. I mean, you guys have Robin Check in your region, right? Who doesn't want a $500,000 like SC2 or $600,000 SC2, right? Myself included, I sold 45 grand on like 20 orders from business gifting this SC2. So it's like they're like, and I challenged him. I go, dude, like you want to get into business gifting? Well, have you ever considered the possibility that maybe a person that you're doing a service call for who owns Cutco, loves Cutco, likes Cutco, might own a business, or they might know other people that own businesses. And when you ask for referrals, instead of just asking for demo referrals, you can ask for business gift owners. And he's like, guys, this is a Hall of Famer. This is a guy, a couple million, 3 million, I think, in sales, 350, 400K a year. He goes, I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it like that. Why did I not think? It's like, this isn't some complex thing. It's just very simple. And I told him, it's not always learning something new. It's remembering something true. And you never know who someone else knows. He went on his very next service call. And guys, I literally role played with him. I role played with a Hall of Fame Cutco sales rep, a referral approach. And I was like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. He's like, damn it, damn it. And he's like, got back to the basics, back to the basics. His very first service call after it, he put his focus and attention on referrals and not the sale. It ended up being a no sale, which is fine. The person's bought from him like 7 times, so it's not a big deal. And that person ended up giving him 20 referrals, and 6 of them were business owners, the owner of the company, the decision maker, the person that probably makes the decision on gifting or has a strong influence on the gifting, right? I saw him last week at an SC2 I was speaking at, and he just was like the happy. He's like, dude, everything's going great, man. Everything's going great. Things are awesome, right? Contemplating leaving Cutco after an incredible career, paradigm shift, back to the basics, all that stuff. Cloud 9. It's got all this cool stuff happening right in his business. It can happen like that. It can happen like that. You have to believe it, right? Anyway, I got to run, but everybody have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys do some awesome fairs and shows this fall. It's fair and show season. What do you guys like more, wedding season or fair and show season?
Fair and show season.
There you go. Oh, wedding crashers. See you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Rob. See ya.